This is day number 6 of the bird speedrun. Let's get into it. Let's get going. It's time to go. All right, we got a Jobava London. This might be one of my least favorite openings in the world. I guess we'll play d5. Just standard stuff. Keep it simple. We're gonna play knight h5, pushing away the bishop. Gonna chase that bishop out. Badger the bishop back, as they say. We can take this whenever we want. I don't think we have to just yet. I don't really see any benefit of delaying it, though. Yeah, there's no point in delaying it because my knight has nothing else to do. In other situations, you can delay it, but it just ends up getting a little risky, right? Back in this type of position, the knight can always be hit by e4. So it's better just to resolve it. All right, we'll play knight c6 here. Man could try queen d3. Queen d3 is a little sneaky. Look at that, just attacking this. I'd probably have to play g6 then. f3. Well, now I feel like queen d6 is going to be good. Yeah, let's go for queen d6. Just aim at g3. He has to play king f2 if he doesn't want to lose something. If he plays g4, I'm going to hit him with the check, and that's going to be dangerous. Yeah, this is definitely risky business on his end. Having a great morning this morning. I got my favorite lukewarm cup of coffee. Jose did me a solid. Got me the best lukewarm cup of coffee in Buenos Aires this morning. There. All right, so this is an interesting moment, guys. I want you to pay attention to this. When they have such a fixed position on the e5 square, this is actually relevant to the bird. The e5 break is particularly powerful, and why is that? Because if we can end up trading off these pawns and opening up the e-file, both of these scores are going to be weak here. So that's what I'm going to go for. e5. Maybe I'm blundering this pawn, come to think of it, but we'll figure it out. I don't think it will be that bad. At the end of the day, I'm the bird master. I can just wing it. Get myself out of trouble at a moment's notice. Yeah, I wonder what our goal is for today. I guess these games are going to start to really drastically slow down in the 900s and 1000s, so I just got to keep playing focused. Okay, he doesn't want to take. I was more worried about if he takes here, because then I was going to take and it's going to get very frisky. All right, let's play d4, push his knight out. He plays knight b5. Honestly, knight b5 wouldn't be so bad. It's hitting my queen, hitting this pawn. Very, very frisky stuff. Okay, we could play queen d7 or queen e7. Probably queen d8 actually makes the most sense. Look at that, queen d8 does make the most sense because I stay out of the way of both of my bishops. On either of these scores, I'd be blocking something. Yeah, he's in a bit of danger here. I'm about to lock his knight out on the edge of the board. It's not going to be fun for him. There? All right, let's kick his knight out. This is going to get very bad very quickly. Man is going to play knight a3. I could play e4, knight e5, takes. Yeah, that's tricky stuff. I think in all these positions I should be winning, though, because after knight a3, I can always play bishop b4. Yeah, this is the simplest, actually. Bishop b4, pinning the queen to the king. Man has to play c3, but now I can undermine the defense of this knight by deflecting this pawn. Perfect. What should I take with? This is an endgame, so I would rather actually take with the king. My king is going to be fine on e7 here, right? It's a closed file. He's not going to be able to attack it with rooks. And it's much more important to keep this knight here, securing the e5 pawn in stone. Yeah, I've been anxious to go to the cinema. I love going to the cinema when I'm in these foreign countries. The problem is, though, there are literally no good movies out at the moment. So I've been checking the movie website periodically. It's interesting though. Latin America is a really big fan of Japan, believe it or not. So they're often like replays of old Japanese movies, which are interesting. I've been enjoying those a lot. Let's play bishop f5 here. Attack the rook. Yeah, up until maybe like a few months ago, I never had seen these famous Studio Ghibli movies. They're very good though. Like some people are fanatics about them and some people think they're the best movies ever made. I'm not sure if I would go that far, but they're definitely well produced. They're definitely nicely done. And we're trapping the rook here. Man's going to have to play knight d2, and then I'm going to play rook d8 to gather the steed. Yeah, really just chilling here. Yeah, now that I sent this course in, man, my life is easy. Slept, what, like 10 hours today? I'm gonna have to get back to work at some point, though. I feel this type of lifestyle just drives me insane. I need a big project to sink my teeth into. All right? Yeah, I mean, this is over. It's time to go. I guess the best he can do is rook d3, and at the very least there I could just grab the exchange with bishop takes. I sort of like knight takes e5 even more. There. All right, I'm taken. Yeah, this ain't gonna go well. Bishop g4. I could just throw this move in first. He plays rook h4. I'm gonna take and then play h5 to seal his rook in stone here. There. That's a good idea, but look at this. Now I can check here. If he plays rook f3, I can take this rook. If he plays king g1, he plays king g1. Still got the broken mouse. He plays king g1. I'm going to grab one rook and then the other. All right, perfect. Okay. Which way is this king going to run? All right, this is yeah, this is going to be checkmate. His bishop never made it out. This is the benefits of this e5 break. If you do it correctly and install a piece here, their bishop is never going to be able to get off the starting square. Okay, perfect. Okay, playing Kolyas. Is that... What flag is that? Is that Andorra? Normally, I would guess that that's Romania. The colors are Romania, but the problem is that there's a crest on top of it. So it's either Monaco, Andorra. Yeah, this is confusing. I'm gonna guess it's Andorra. Moldova. Okay. Oh, actually, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Moldova and Romania are very close. I think they speak, yeah, they do speak the same language. Technically, they speak Romanian and Moldova, but I think they get mad if you say that. They insist that it's Moldovan. But from what I understand, it's the same exact language. And yeah, they're very close, culturally speaking. I'm going to have to look up what the Andorra flag is. From what I understand, the Andorra flag is really, really close to France. It's almost identical to France. It's like France's, but with a little tiny crest on it or something. All right, let's get the chop. Never a bad time to get the chop. b3, bishop b2. Yeah, because he has this structure here. Yeah, I said it once, guys. I'll say it again. When they have doubled pawns on these green squares, that's a bit different from when they have doubled pawns on these red squares. When they have pawns on the red squares, you don't need to worry about d4 ever. The difference, though, is that now their bishop is going to be a lot better. In a lot of cases, it's better if they have the green doubled pawns. It's better for you, I mean, because it just gives you a very easy plan. All you need to do is play c4 and then just lock their pawns in, and their bishop is just going to be dead there. All right, we'll play bishop b2 here. Just chilling. Okay. I'm going to castle here. Knight e4. So if I grab the pawn, he plays rook g8, I retreat, and then he plays bishop h3. He's getting pressure there, and I would have to play g3 and give up the exchange. Yeah, let's just play d3 here. Just keep it simple. Normally the counterpunch to this d3 stuff is for them to quickly zero in on e3 with knight d6, knight f5. Man, I gotta fix this mouse. The counterpunch is knight d6, knight f5 to e3. As you can see, though, his bishop is occupying this square, so I'm not going to have to worry about that transfer. It's going to be good. We're making moves. In the words of NFL Street, Volume 2, we're moving the chains. All right, here we could definitely play e4. I don't want to give him this check, though, that quickly. I don't think there's any reason to give him the check. Yeah, I'm wondering, where's my knight going to go, actually? I feel, even in these positions, even if they don't have a pawn here, when they have the red pawns, you can still put your knight on a4, and it still provides good pressure of the c5 square. Because he doesn't have a b pawn at the end of the day, right? He doesn't have a b pawn. This d pawn's advanced too far. This is a weakness. It doesn't matter that he doesn't have a pawn on it. It's still a weak square. And it's time to go.
Time to go!
All right, knight a4. Zeroing in. I'm going to play bishop d4 to tighten the screws. We could definitely play e4 now. I was a little bit hesitant to play e4 before because of bishop c5, king h1, and then some, I don't know, knight g4 funny business. But here, c5 is off the table. All right, I'm just going to start chasing him now. Threatening e5. I would love to see him take here, because if he takes, then these pawns become isolated, and it's going to be much easier to target them. Yeah, that is not good here. So normally if they play e5, you should just play f5 and keep your pawns on light scores with perfect harmony. Here, though, I can just take. This is just the end of the game. It's just a fork. All right, we're going to take again. Aiming at f6, aiming at c7. Hopefully we can get a resignation soon. This game is completely over. Just up a piece with better development, better structure. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think I'm ever going to come back to this city. I do like it a lot. It's very European. Um, the pollen has definitely simmered down. The pollen was really, really bad in October and November, but now it's better. Great, we won that. But yeah, the city is very interesting. It just feels like I'm in Europe whenever I'm walking around. All right, knight f3, knight c6, knight f6. Playing a guy from Argentina, nice. All right, what's it going to be, pal? You going to go for the big kahuna, knight c3? All right, we'll take here. We've discussed this. d5 here. Bishop d3 is the best move in this position. A lot of people play bishop b5 here, though. So we're going to see that's going to get him into very serious trouble, though. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the theory. There's something... After bishop b5, there's a way that you can win on the spot after takes, knight takes. I think it's queen g5. They take on c6. You can either take on b5 there or take on g2. Both of those look good. I think it's taking on g2. I guess we'll analyze that after. Okay, perfect. This is fantastic because we got... Ultimately, what have we achieved from this? Well, pretty much I took here and then I forked to ultimately just trade material. But what have we done? We've effectively traded these pawns, which is a very good deal because this pawn was a very good one of his, and now it's gone. Not only that, we got his world-famous Italian bishop. So we got his bishop, we got his best pawn. Definitely a win in my book. Let's play bishop g4 now to go for the pin. Have really serious ideas of knight d4 now. I'm gonna have to figure this keyboard out at some point. I have like this huge keyboard. It's like twice the size of an American keyboard, and I bought it because when I do get good at video editing, it's going to be very useful to have all these extra keys on it. The problem is though, uh-oh. There's one mosquito in this house, and it's been taunting me. It's been taunting me for days. I don't even understand how it got in the house. Because I keep the doors closed for the pollen. No pollen's getting in, no mosquitoes getting in. It's time to go. All right, we'll just castle queenside. This looks like a dream position. Could play knight d4 soon enough. What is it about these insects, man? I don't understand what it is. Like, the insects they have like a sixth sense as to when I'm recording the videos and when they know I can't chase them around. And that's when they try their luck with me. Okay, let's play f5 here. Just chase him out. We got these two pawns here. This has to be fantastic. Knight g3, I have f4. This is a terrible situation for him. He should be dead lost. I guess, yeah, knight g5, e4, maybe it's a little too soon for e4, but we'll just play h6, kick the knight back to h3, and then g5, and that's very, very sad position. Okay, f4. This is over. All right, we'll just take back. Nothing could be the matter here. Okay, knight d4. Pressure on this knight. This position is only going to get worse and worse for him. Next on the agenda, we'll just take and then swap the queen over. Actually, what am I talking about? Just put the queen over first. This is going to be over soon. Already up a piece, and the attack has not abated in the least. All right, there. Can't we just take this way? Yeah, let's take, deflect the g-pawn. I'll take on h3 next. This has to be the end of the game. Okay. Queen h5 here, going to go for the check and go for the checkmate. I've got nothing but time. And by that I mean I have to go very soon to a dentist appointment. All right. Let's checkmate. Let's keep it going. Playing f4. Birds opening. Y'all already know what it is. We got to get our pecs in. All right. Perfect. Until they either move this pawn to c5 or move the knight out to c6, we should not be moving this bishop. We're not going to commit it anywhere. We're just going to get our queenside fianchetto in. We'll figure out the rest later. Yeah, so normally people are going to play c5 or knight c6 here, but in some cases they'll castle, and then we're going to have to choose something. besides developing this bishop. Yeah, those positions are going to get super interesting. I actually hope he castles here because those positions are mind-blowing. Those positions are a spectacle to behold. All right, perfect. We're playing rook g1 here. This is a very important move. Yeah, truth be told, if you don't want to get too frisky in the cabbage patch, you can just play bishop e2 here and it's not a problem. But rook g1 does pose them the most problems because we're just going to chase them down the board with g4 and g5. Yeah, this is going to get extremely dangerous. Notice that my bishop and rook are both convening on the same square. This should go very well for me. All right, bro's trying to sneak in for a check. Let's play g5. This also stops him from playing bishop f6. I don't know how this is going to go well for him. This should go pretty badly. All right, here, I guess he wants to play bishop f6. He can't move this pawn because if rook takes g7. Let's line up on this knight. Bishop d3. There, oh no, this is going to be over. He goes here, we take, he goes back, and that's checkmate. That's it. Yeah, that was a close one. All right. Got another game. Playing again. Okay, king pawn. I can't say it enough. I love playing these games on the speedrun because everyone plays king pawn. Everyone's playing the most rambunctious option in the royal game. All right, we'll take here. We've been getting this position a lot. If they take back, we play d5. We're getting our piece back, and in this respect, we're being able to trade off their excellent e-pawn. All right, is someone going to play bishop d3 here? Bishop takes. Okay, yeah, everyone loves this, but this position is already pretty much losing for white. I'm not sure if it's losing or really bad, but in either case, it's really close to it's just a terrible opening outcome for white. Like, black is already very close to winning. Black has the bishop pair. Black has an extra central pawn. All right, we could take and play knight d4. That would be good, but I think bishop h5 is even better. This is very, very tricky for him. This pin is very hard to resolve because notice he doesn't have a light squared bishop. He doesn't have a light squared bishop. How is he going to save the light squares? All right, knight c3. Let's play bishop b4. Just going for the pin. All right, bishop d2. We could do several things here. We could move the queen back. I like keeping the queen's pressure on f3, though. We're going to take here. We definitely didn't have to do this, but I think this is the most active way to try to convert the advantage. Castle queenside here. Probably at some point I should play f5 just to make sure that he can't break the pin with g4. G4 is always going to come with its own weaknesses because he can't move the pawn back from there. These squares are always going to be a bit compromised. Not to mention this, actually. Yeah, if he pushes the g-pawn, f4 will become a nice outpost for me. But even so, this pressure is so uncomfortable, it makes sense. It would make the most sense to just try to maintain it as long as possible. Let's play f5 here. This is going to be a disaster soon. I don't know how he's going to resolve this. I'm going to play e4, kick the knight out, and his knight is not going to have anywhere to go because of this pressure. There. All right, we're taken. This did not work out for him. He waited till the worst possible time to push g4. Yeah, now not only has g4 not accomplished anything, but because he doesn't have a g-pawn, the knight is being lost instantly. It was a really tough position, though, I think. Like, back here, I think this is already losing. The threat of e4 is enormous here. All right, bishop d2. We'll just take. What's he going to do now? He's taken there. Okay, I'll take. Okay. That was an interesting game. Anyway, the good news is we got another birds opening, and we've broken 950, which is nice. People are playing markedly better than back in the 6 and 700s. Like, they have to be under a lot of pressure before they start blundering. They're not just giving away pieces willy-nilly. All right, so man played a6. That means I cannot bring my bishop over to b5. Instead, we'll play bishop b2 here. Just guard against e5. Without b5 on the as a possibility, where is my bishop going to deploy? My bishop could go to either of these squares. In this exact case, though, man is playing for e5, so we need to think about how to deal with it. First thing we could try is d4. Normally d4 would be good, but we have another idea here. Because they played f6, you can always look at c4 whenever they've played f6. Now, the only problem with f6, c4 would be d4, but we actually have that under control because we have 3 defenders and he only has 2. Sorry, we have 3 attackers and he only has 3 defenders. So let's play c4. The goal of c4 is I'm just going to trade. Man, what is with this mouse? I'm going to trade on d5, he takes back, and then I'm going to install this bishop on this fantastic square. All right, unless he does that, unless he helps me out. Taking with the bishop would be good here. We could also take with the pawn. Both would make sense, because taking with the pawn, we're getting a really nice central majority then. This is very, very tricky business. I don't know which is better, honestly. I think both of these make sense. Let the record show you could take with either here. I think probably b takes is slightly better, just because if after b takes, we have very good chances of just steamrolling with these 4 pawns in the center. Okay, bishop g4. Man is going for the pin. Let's play. This is a very weird structure now, honestly. He was playing for e5, so we should stamp that out as soon as we possibly can. Let's play d4. And the idea is now if he plays e5, I could maybe take twice, or I might be able to just advance d5. In either case, we're doing well. All right, e6. I'm happy to see e6, though, because with e6, he's sort of given up on the only kryptonite to our position. Guys, I said it once, I'll say it again. If in Bird's opening, the most important thing that you have to watch out for is e5. If they've given up on breaking with e5, that's a very good sign for you. I could build a brick wall with c5. Yeah, let's go for it. It's going to be interesting. At the very least, it's hindering his bishop. I was a little afraid of this b6 crunch, but if he ever goes for the crunch, he's going to be undermining his knight on c6. All right, there. Let's play knight c3. I'll take that tempo for free. Going to the tempo store today. Let's play queen b3 here, attack this pawn and attack this. This is looking fantastic now. Notice that because he's advanced f6, that there are just so many long-term positional repercussions for him. This e-pawn is very weak here. And even if he's able to advance the pawn to e5, he's going to have to deal with these weaknesses, which are also not fun. All right, how are we going to manage this? I could play bishop c4. Bishop c4 looks all right. I don't like knight a5, though. But knight a5, I could throw in a check. Yeah, that would actually be fine. Yeah, let's play bishop c4 here. Just shoot down the diagonal for a line drive. This is about to get very bad for him. He's going there, but now I have checkmate him too. His bishop isn't defending this any longer. Yeah, this is very nice. That was a very interesting game, honestly. Yeah, let's look through that briefly. Yeah, so I really want to emphasize, guys, when they're playing, this guy wanted a rematch. I can't give him a rematch, though. We're in analysis mode. When they're clearly playing for e5, you need to really watch out for it. In this case, I played c4, and my idea was that if he plays e5, I'm going to take, and then immediately slice through. And even though he's gotten his desired e5 in, the weaknesses caused by this f6 push will still be a thorn in his side. So I'm not even sure what I would do here, actually. Can we turn on the analysis bar? This should be winning. Oh, what am I talking about? I can just win the pawn here. Takes, if takes, we can just take, and we're winning. I had assumed that there was some tactic here, because in some positions you need to watch out for queen h4. Like here, if you play g3, then queen e4, and all of a sudden you're losing. Like, look at this. This ain't good. But at the same time, actually, all we need to do here is we need to find a pretty generic move. Bishop g3, and yeah, I'm just up a pawn here. Something that's really critical in a position like this is that just with the bishop slicing through here, not only does he have these weaknesses here, but how in the world is he ever going to castle, right? Like, how is he going to be able to do it? Like, think about an actual plan that would permit him to castle. Like, let's say he plays bishop c5, we castle, knight e7. Okay, he's still nowhere close to castling. So how is he going to do it? If he plays queen, let's say he plays queen e7 and is just trying to get the bishop out to castle this way, then we can play knight c3, bishop d7, and hit him with knight d5. And I'm hitting the pawn, hitting the queen. His queen is probably going to have to go back, and he's still got nowhere close to castling. So this is just a disastrous position here. All right, so takes. I was wondering about this. What is better here? All right, computer is saying that both bishop takes and pawn takes are almost equivalent. Bishop takes is slightly preferable. I wasn't sure about this position, though, after e5. I'm sort of paranoid about this e5 break because in so many positions against my bird, it's worked and gotten black a good position. So just on theoretical grounds, I'm always worried about it. But actually here, he hasn't pushed it in the most energetic way, right? He's pushed it by playing a pawn on f6, and in addition to those weaknesses we talked about on this diagonal, that's also stopped his knight from getting to the best score possible, which is f6. So all in all, this is not an active break, or it's not as active a break as it normally is in Bird's opening. And if he plays e5 here, we actually have something cool. We could play bishop a3, slicing through the queen and the bishop. He moves back, and then we take. He takes. His king is uncastled. I'll take here now. If he takes back, we're going to castle. Yeah, white should be winning here. I'm always just a little too hyper fixated on the structure. Structurally speaking, white is not doing well. White has a slightly weaker structure than black here because black is a pawn in the center and we have a slight weakness on d2. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter when our development is so good and when his king is uncastled like this. Like if he plays knight f6, we play knight g5, and we're just immediately scoring the bounty on f7. All right, let's look at the rest of this game. So I took with the pawn. He played bishop g4. I played d4 just to seize more space. e6, c5. c5 is not the best move. I really wanted to build a brick wall against this bishop here. Apparently in all these positions, I'm just supposed to play bishop a3 and trade. And yeah, his king gets uncastled here, and this is going to be a long-term issue for him. Yeah, I honestly, this was on my radar. I had seen this idea, but I didn't appreciate how strong it was. Computer's just saying this is already winning for white, though, which is wild. Yeah, material is equal, but his king is just really poorly placed. We're going to play bishop e2. We're going to castle, and overall, my development is much better. And also, I have an extra d pawn. He has an extra b pawn, so I have a central superiority here. And all in all, these advantages combined mean that I have to be doing very, very well here. All right, so I played c5, building the brick wall, queen d5, knight c3. And yeah, now I'm hitting e6. This is just a disastrous position already. Hitting b7, hitting e6. He really has nothing to do here. Man could try queen d7, and in this position, I could castle queenside. Wow. This e6 pawn is so vulnerable in this position. My first instinct was to just play something like bishop c4 with the idea of playing h3 and kicking the bishop back and then eventually breaking through here. But in this exact position, though, this bishop and queen combo would not work well because he has this fork to trade off our great bishop. All right, yeah, if he played queen d7, I'm supposed to castle, which is interesting. I'm going to castle, and one of the ideas is that, well, of course, I'm getting better developed. I might have d5 in some situations, and besides that, apparently when I just put my king on a1, my king is going to be unbelievably secure, and then I can just start pushing all my pawns between the h and the f files. Yeah, these variations are very interesting. Like in a lot of these variations, I just start playing h3 and g4 to start expanding. And yeah, because of this brick wall, this is extremely difficult for him to ever really muster any counterplay against, right? Like even how are these pieces going to get developed here? Like look at that. Both these pieces want to develop to e7. If he puts the bishop here, though, then how is he going to get the knight out? He's going to have to put the knight here, figure out a way to get the knight out safely, and then finally develop the bishop. And that's just going to take very long, leaving his king more vulnerable in the center for longer. All right, so he played e5. I sliced through with bishop c4. He took, and I just got checkmate. This is already a disastrous position, though. Like, if he plays knight e7, I'm just going to check here, take, and we already are threatening some skewers. I guess he could get his king out of the way with king c8, but this... No, his queen is still trapped here. That's mind-blowing. Look at that. He's going to have to give up a knight if he wants to save his queen with something like this. But this is no fun either, obviously. All right, yeah, so this position is just completely over pretty much. He took, and that allowed me to checkmate with check here. Because his bishop is not covering the square, we have checkmate. Perfect. Let's get another game. It's time to go. e4, e5. Playing someone from Korea. I literally just found this out yesterday, and I've been telling everyone that I meet. This is a crazy fact. Did you guys know that even Koreans use Chinese characters? I had no idea of this until yesterday. This is wild. Because I went to Japan. Like earlier this year, I went to Japan and I thought it was crazy that I was able to use my Chinese to read the signs. And it turns out that also Koreans use the Chinese character system. It's not their main alphabet. Their main alphabet is the one with like the squares and the circles. They have their own phonetic alphabet. But yeah, they're also use Chinese characters, which is wild. Um, yeah, it seems like literally Chinese is by far the best language to learn in terms of like getting your money's worth. Because if you learn Chinese, then you can read the signs in Japan. I think Korea. I'm gonna have to double check this. Um, China, of course, Taiwan. And from what I understand, Vietnam also uses the character system. Okay, so man castled here. So yeah, but I was talking too much about Chinese. But yeah, long story short, we play d5 here. We're not letting him break through here. He's gonna take. I play knight d4. This is the classic idea. I'm waiting for someone to play the correct move, which is c3 here when I'll reveal my my fantastic novelty. But yeah, he castled here in this position. I cannot remember what to do. I think we play b5 here. I think we just chase the bishop out. Because he can't take here now, so this is the perfect time to chase the bishop. All right, bishop b3. So the cool thing about throwing these moves in is that now I never need to worry about c3 because I can always chop and get the bishop pair and also undermine his control of d5. So I'm wondering what to do here. We could definitely play h6, knight f3, bishop g4. That looks very good. Another classic idea here is to play a5 and threaten to trap the bishop. And the idea behind that is that if they play a4 to halt this pawn, then I can chop here under far better circumstances because then he's going to have to ruin his structure with the c-pawn recapturing. I don't know what to do. Honestly, I'm not even going to try to calculate here. I can't calculate anymore. Guys, I said it once, I'll say it again. Birdmaster's mind is fried. Not so much from the e4, e5 course. I can't use that as an excuse anymore. But I just haven't been playing tournament chess, and all my focus these past few years have just been on playing intuitively. The interesting thing is that I think even in classical chess, it's not going to affect me that much because I think I've found a way to just expedite the thought process so significantly that even if I don't calculate almost anything, I can still play at like 24, 2500 level. h6, knight f3, bishop g4, that looks good. Do I have to worry about anything there? No, let's go for that. I mean, both of these moves look good. Let the record show that a5 is also probably fantastic. I can't forget about my lukewarm cup of coffee. Don't want to let Jose down. All right, h3. I think that should be a mistake. We could take and then win a pawn. Taking and win a pawn looks good, but I like this better. Because the idea, I love keeping this knight on the board as long as possible. It's just such an annoying piece, right? Because this knight is here, they can't break on d4 to try to open the center and get at my king. Let's play queen d7 now to eye this. So this is an interesting situation, right? He wants to defend this pawn. Which of these squares should he choose? Let me know in the comments. Which of these squares is better? So I would bet he's going to play king h2 because that's the more natural way, right? He's keeping his king off of the open file. That's a much more natural way to handle things. The problem with king h2 though is that then he places his king where my bishop can line up against it perfectly. So actually in this position he should probably play king g2. That's already a really tough position though. Probably in that position I'll just take on d5 and things are doing great. As it stands, he played queen e1 and I can just take with check and this is going to be the end of the game. I'm just getting the queen. All right, yeah, let's take the queen. Play bishop d6, just up a queen now. Really not much to discuss here. Standard boilerplate stuff. Yeah, Korean looks interesting. I don't think I'm gonna try to learn Korean. I'm like my main idea, I used to have dreams of learning like 15 languages. I don't think that it's physically possible to do that and also have a life. Like I was thinking about it and if you were, I think anyone could learn 10 languages. But by the time you get to like language 6, you would have to spend so much time just reviewing all of the old ones to make sure those don't rust and decay. And yeah, that's pretty much been my learning experience, right? There's a decay rate there's a decay rate to languages. All right, we'll just take here. There's a decay rate to languages. So my new focus, my new life goal is I want to learn Portuguese, French, Chinese, and Japanese. I'm gonna just focus on those four, and I'm gonna make it like a 40-year mission. If I spend time every day for 40 straight years and I space out living in these countries and everything, maybe I'll be able to get it done. Because I think like with four languages, there's not so much of a decay rate because you can still get a lot of exposure to the old languages just in your spare time. Yeah, I don't know what it was that possessed me, but I used to just really love languages, and I literally had plans to try to learn 10 languages. And then I did the math, and I just realized I'm not going to be able to do anything else if I try to learn 10 languages. I don't want to be that type of boo-hoo guy that says it's not possible. I do think learning 10 languages is possible. I'm not willing to put in the sacrifice. I'm not willing to, yeah, just think about like the decay rate. Like you're on your seventh language, and then your first language just goes back to beginner level by that point. It's literally like juggling pretty much. It would be a nightmare, honestly. Like I'm happy with the fact that I've just changed my goals. All right. We should already have some type of checkmate here, pretty much, right? Because I have these four pieces all. I'm including the pawn because the pawn is close enough. We have these four things all engaged in the attack. So there should be a checkmate here. I'm just gonna need to find some clever moves. King f1, bishop g3. I think that's it. Just going for the f2 pawn. If he plays rook e2, all right, there. Let's take care now, though. I'm threatening bishop h2, bishop g3, and a quick checkmate with queen h2, queen f2. This is a good try. Unfortunately, though, he's weakening this diagonal now. But okay, if I check here, though, he blocks at the rook and the game goes on for a while. Let's take here instead. Playing for checkmate with the queen. I also have ideas of knight g4, also queen h2. This just has to be over. Nice. All right, we're up to 967. The big question is, what flag is that? So it's got it's got the crescent, it's got the moon, the crescent moon on it, so it has to be Islamic. Yeah, what flag is that? All right. So yeah, bro, if bro is playing this whole setup here, let's go for the chop. Let's give him these doubled pawns here. Gonna play b3 now and bishop b2. Knight d4 is honestly an interesting idea to hit the bishop and pawn. The problem though is he'll play bishop g4, snipe our queen, and our knight will have to retreat to deal with the threat. Um, yeah, that flag. What is that flag? I feel like that has to be North Africa. But it's not Algeria. Algeria. No, maybe it is all. It's. I would guess that that's Libya. Because Tunisia's is red and white. Tunisia's doesn't have any black in it. I don't think that that's from the Middle East. I'm gonna bet Libya. Let's see what happens. Hey! Yeah, these flags are cool, man. Okay, let's put the knight on e5, just target this pawn. Beg him to advance the pawn. I said once, I'll say it again. If he gets his pawn here, this bishop's prospects drastically decrease. Come on, buddy, nudge your pawn up. Okay, he's not nudging the pawn up. We'll play d3 first, kick the bishop out. I'm just going to scoop up the pawn then. Bro can have it his way. Welcome to Burger King. All right, yeah, we'll just... Honestly, we don't even have to take here. Like, this pawn is just so weak in the bird that you could literally leave this pawn on the board and you would have the same exact advantage. For the sake of simplicity, though, we'll grab the pawn. There's no reason not to grab the pawn, but just let the record show that you're doing really well, even if they were to defend this pawn here. All right, bishop takes. Look at this. I'm going to go for a dark square strategy now, and what I mean by that is we're going to just fight for full control over these squares here. So to that end, I want to put... Let's start by getting the knight to d2. I think knight's going to go to f3. I could have also deployed the knight to a4. That would have also worked. Bishop wants to come out this way. Let's play h3. Say no to the bishop getting out. I'm going to play knight f3, knight d4 maybe. There. Can't I grab another pawn? What am I missing here? Okay, if I grab the pawn, he plays queen c5. He's hitting these two. That's actually tricky. That's not that simple. It's like that Ryan Gosling movie. Let's just drop the bishop back. He could try queen c5. We'll play bishop d4. There. I don't think that does anything. We'll play knight f3 here. He could try queen g3. This doesn't even really do anything. It doesn't even really do anything, but we should... It is simplest here just to trade the queens. Just get the queen out of the way. I could have also played king h1, though. All right, queen g6. What's going on here? Can't we just trap the bishop with g4? Yeah, g4 takes, queen takes. I just hide my king on f2. He has no checks. Let's go for that. It's over. Look at this beautiful structure, right? Like, this is one of the main reasons you should be very careful about pushing d4. If you just keep your pawns like this, they form pure concrete against their bishop. And their bishop really has nothing to do. So man takes. Let's take back. He's going to take with the check. We play king f2, and I'm going to be the one attacking him on the g file. g7 is a prime target here. Nice. Okay, rook g1. This is a good idea on his part. He's trying to open the file, and I guess he wants to meet takes with f6 to get his rooks involved. That's a very good idea. Yeah, definitely we're in the rating range now where everyone is playing natural, logical moves. So kudos to this guy. Kudos to this fella. We could just take. Is there any problem with taking? Let's play rook g3, actually. The idea of rook g3 is that in some positions, depending on where his queen goes, my knight's hops might be stronger. I could have definitely taken on e5. Something I wanted to avoid, though, is I just don't want to let this queen get in and cause any problems. Let's start with queen g1 here, just to eye this. I'm also covering h2 now, so I no longer have to worry about that. You could definitely take on e5 here. Yeah, let's just take on e5. Keep it simple. I guess he's going to try f6. I'll just drop the bishop back. We should drop the bishop back as far as possible. There's no reason to keep the bishop out farther where it might be vulnerable to c5. All right, here queen g2. This has to be the end of the game. Rooks are coming in. Yeah, this is going to get very bad very quickly. Queen has to move out of the way, and then I think I can sacrifice. Oh, look at this. This is complicated. If I sacrifice here, I'm hoping to meet his king takes with a checkmate. But the problem with the sacrifice is he just takes this. So we got to be a little careful. Let's play rook g5 first to kick his queen back. No sacrifices yet, pal. All right, there. Well, let's play queen h2. Just line up. He plays h5. I can just take anyway because this g-pawn is pinned. He's going to have to try f5. All right, I'm taking here. Yeah, this is over. All right, we're going to check. Let's check here, make sure that the king can't escape. King has to go back into the vortex, and this is going to be the end. All right, that was a nice game. Yeah, we're going to end things here, guys. Thank you all for watching. Day number 6 of the speed run. We're up to 975. It's time to go!